What's cracking, everybody? XehrFelrose here, bringing you some Pokemon Go Battle League content. In today's video, we hit Veteran on a seriously smoking 13-2 run with this double Mud Slap team. This team was suggested to me by one of the members of my chat. You know who you are, and thank you very much for suggesting the team. After coping with Starmie for a set, I decided to give this team a shot, and it just went absolutely bananas, and I'm not going to lie. This little guy right here, this Shadow Donphan, this thing is disgusting and you need one. I'm just going to say it right off the top. We had a double Mud Slap team with Gastrodon in the back. You could probably get away with something like a Golurk or, you know, any other really any ground type, but I feel like Shadow Donphan, I mean, Shadow Golurk could also technically be the safe switch here in place of the Donphan, but Donphan is just so good with that Trailblaze, able to ramp up its damage in matchups like against things like Feraligatr. Really helps being able to just shield through that. And in the lead, we're running Talonflame. I think that this team, it does very well, but has a very serious hole in it too for Feraligatr, where I think that you pretty much have to finesse that matchup with your Mud Slappers and try not to give them too much energy head start, otherwise you're going to have a bad time. We went 13-2, 164, 5 elo or so gained, and we're going to get into the battles right now. Starting with this first game here, we're going to see a superior lead. Fantastic lead for me. I really just need to make sure I keep switch advantage. The opponent has save swap Morpeko, and now all bets are off, man. Donphan just comes in and deletes this thing. I don't need to shield the first move because they're probably not running Seed Bomb. And if they are, then at that point, they can honestly have the game. But they weren't running it, so we're just going to go ahead and do as much chip damage with this Donphan as humanly possible. We're going to go for as many body slams as we can before we inevitably get farmed down here. And honestly, Body Slam has been really clutch on Donphan, dealing with things like Talonflame and some flyers that aren't named Drifblim. Also, Drifblim makes this team very uncomfortable. I would probably say that the two most difficult things for this team to deal with are going to be Drifblim and Feraligatr. And I mean, that's just the way of it. But you can usually finesse around the rest of the meta here for the most part. Gastrodon also is running Water Pulse on this team to be able to do exactly this, beat Talonflame. But in this case, at least, we don't necessarily need to worry about it so much because we're in a really good position here with the Gastrodon being able to just absorb that energy. Opponent has to basically absorb. They basically just have to be able to somehow get like 50 more energy out of nowhere with the superior. But they know they're going to lose. Good game to them. Well played. Next game up, Shadow Typhlosion on the lead. This thing is terrifying, and Talonflame does not have a winning matchup here because it has access to Thunder Punch. Now, my opponent immediately switches in a Galarian Moltres, and I feel kind of cooked right now because they really, if they want to, they can shield farm me all the way down, and that's honestly what they should do. But what they decided to do instead is throw energy, which, in my opinion, is fine. You're going to throw Ancient Power at me, and we live it. We live those. That's fine. I'm okay with this. We can go for another Body Slam. This will put it in Incinerate downrange, possibly, for Talonflame, which is fine with me. And honestly, as long as I can save shields for Gastrodon, I'm just going to hope that whatever they have in the back maybe is weak to Gastrodon, because Typhlosion really has nowhere to go against the Gastrodon. So just going to have to see what they do. But yeah, it's just going to get absolutely shredded by Gastrodon here. So they're going to come in. They got a Guzzlord. All right, this is kind of tough. And this is like that one time where I wish I had the Earth Power. If I had Earth Power, I think I could potentially win this game. Opponent's going to go for the Brutal Swing. I kind of have to let this go because the Typhlosion has a Thunder Punch loaded at this point. And so Body Slam gets the first shield. Opponent is wary of the Earth Power, but I'm just going to go for a Body Slam here and maybe hope I get the other shield. My only win condition here is essentially that Talonflame is able to get a move against the Typhlosion and not, have to give up the shield, which I'm going to have to pretty close to now. If the opponent gets to 2 Brutal Swings, I'm kind of hosed here. I'm just going to go for the fly, get the shield. All right, good. All right, so my opponent's going to go for a move here. I have to let this go because they have that Thunder Punch. Again, I have to keep that in mind, but the opponent goes immediately for another move, and I'm like, okay, well, all right. There goes my shield. I'm going to hope that maybe they switch and they get the 1-turn lag, and no. I don't win this game unless the game itself doesn't work. So good game to the opponent. They pretty much kind of destroyed me there. Well played. Stay hydrated, folks. Next game up, we got a Dunsparce in the lead. Getting right the heck out of here because I don't want to deal with this. And the opponent comes in with an Azumarill quite quickly. And This is a magical moment for Donphan, okay? Now, in this particular case, if the opponent switches in after you get 2 rollouts, I believe you can go Trailblaze, Body Slam, Trailblaze to knock out the Azumarill, or you could even just go Trailblaze, and then maybe Body Slam. I mean, there's ways, like, if the opponent doesn't know you have Trailblaze as well, like, you can actually do very well here, but the opponent being, I think that if they get in after that first rollout, I think they're able to win this matchup, but you can flip it if they come in after 2 body slams, or after two mud slaps rather. So I'm just going to absorb this energy here. My Donphan has hopefully done its job and baited out the strongest answer the opponent has to Gastrodon here. And with a shield advantage, I'm hopeful that maybe Gastrodon can clutch this game up for us. So what they're going to do is they're going to go into the Talonflame, and here comes the Water Pulse. This is exactly why I'm running Water Pulse, and also because the person who suggested the team told me to run Water Pulse. But that aside, it definitely pays off on this team here. I can shield this move. They cannot get to another move as they're on 4 Incinerates right now. Brave Bird's going to get shielded here, and we can hopefully just go for Water Pulse into the opponent's Dunsparce. I just need to make sure that if they're going to get to 2 moves, that I don't end up losing to 2 moves. So I think that we should be able to live another drill run just barely, but just to be safe, I'm going to try to see if I can't make a catch. Regardless, the opponent's going to have to throw their energy, and I think I should be okay. But I actually count up to 4, switch into the Talonflame, and hope that I've caught the drill run, which we have. That is just a savage catch, and we're going to be able to get this fly off here as we are only 1 away from the move. So good game to the opponent here. Very well played. Had to make that catch, really, to make things happen. I don't think the drill run would have just barely done enough, so well played. Donphan is going to start making magic happen. Pay attention because it's coming right now. Clodsire in the lead in the next game. We're going to go straight to the Donphan here because we do have 2 better answers in the back to the Clodsire. The opponent doesn't swap right away. Now, here's where you want to pay attention. If it's a non-shadow for Alligator, you want to go for Trailblaze right away and 2 shield through this matchup for switch advantage if you need it. I didn't do that because for some reason I thought they had a Shadow Gator, and I was like, I can 2 shield through Shadow Gator without going for Trailblaze. So that's something that you're going to want to keep in mind. Now, the opponent has a lot more energy than I think I give them credit for here, so I basically need them to be, I think, less than 1 away, or more than 1 away from another Hydro Cannon, which I think they're at 9 right now, or at 4, I guess would be the right thing. But opponent's going to let switch go here, and they're not going to understand just how critical that was for me. As Donphan boosted is going to be able to start ripping through this Primeape unless it throws energy, and then we have Talonflame on the Primeape here, and Gastrodon for the Clodsire, this is just a win by rock, paper, scissors, essentially, which is just matchups that are so dominant in one way or the other that the opponent or I can't overcome them. This is a very good example here, as the opponent has Rage Fist on their Primeape. It's just not doing much to the Talonflame, and we have the Gastrodon to just deal super effective damage. They need 2 Earthquakes at least to knock us out here, and that's just not going to be enough here. We get to the Water Pulse. I'm just going to throw it here just before they get to an Earthquake. I think this knocks out. I'm not sure if it does or not. I'd have not run Water Pulse Gastrodon enough to know. It does knock out, and we are going to be able to get to this Body Slam here before the opponent can farm us down to be able to get what they would essentially need 2 Rage Fists to knock us out with a Talonflame. So good game to the opponent here. Switch was absolutely everything. Talonflame into Dunsparce. Once again, the Nemesis going straight into Donphan. Honestly, Donphan feels like it functions so much better when it's your safe switch than when it's like a counter switch, because if you get that safe switch, you can get a couple of mud slaps advantage, and this is now we're ahead by 2, and the opponent did not shield the first Trailblaze. So this means that we can simply 2 shield farm down here, maybe even 1 shield farm down, because the opponent gave us that energy head start. Look at this, perfect farm down for Donphan. This thing is absolutely loaded, and the opponent basically has to come back in with the Dunsparce or come in with Talonflame, and boosted Body Slams are coming this Talonflame's way. This is why I like Body Slam on Donphan here, because it's going to pressure shield. The opponent was just afraid of a big move, but now we're going to go for the Body Slam. This plus the Mud Slaps do almost half of the Talonflame's HP without the boost, and with the boost it does just about that much. So I get 1 turn bring in. I'm not able to get another Incinerate through, which I should have been able to if the game was working properly. Opponent Brave Birds here. I figure I just need to save the shield for Gastrodon now that I know they have a Talonflame and a Dunsparce left on their team. So we should be pretty good here. I just need to make sure that I can Water Pulse the Gastrodon. I don't know that I'm going to want to make a catch like last time here, so I'm trying to just play this by ear at this point. Opponent goes for the Drill Run. I'm going to have to shield and move next time. I'm just going to Mud Slap it down into what I hope is Water Pulse range and hope they don't shield it because they think that they may need that shield for their Talonflame. The opponent does go down. The Water Pulse is reached here, but I don't know if I need to go for it. Body Slam should be enough here. Hopefully the opponent decides to shield, which they do. And at this point now, I can go for 2 and then the Body Slam. If I go for 3, I might get KO'd by the Incinerate, so I don't want to throw 3, and then the move on the Body Slam here should have done enough. And it will. Good game to the opponent. And we are going to roll our way straight to a 4-1 to start this off and get into the next set. We're going to be getting up to 2383. Again, we started at 2341. So getting into the next set here, Talonflame onto Annihilate, fantastic lead for us, and we're going to see what the opponent decides to switch into. They switch into a Clodsire. We're about to make them very sad. Now, the reason why I don't come in with Gastrodon here is because I don't really know if there's a real tangible benefit here, but I'm hoping that perhaps they're running a double poison line or something against the with the back line in the Annihilate. Now the opponent does decide to shield that. They are going to get to another move, but like I've got so much HP on this Donphan, and it's absolutely just ramped up at this point. We're going to be able to go for Trailblaze, Body Slam, whatever we so choose into this Annihilate, and the opponent, you know, if they have something in the back that's also weak to Gastrodon, then we just win here. But Trailblaze going to do a ton of damage. Opponent not going to be able to get to a charge move, and Donphan is so far 2-0 versus this team, and the opponent has a Drapion in the back. All they have to do is get to an Aqua Tail here, but we should be able to get 2 Body Slams off, and the opponent goes for a shield, but the Body Slam is reached. Look at how much damage, dude. This is doing like 25% per Mud Slap, and we're going to be able to knock out. Donphan has just successfully 1v3'd a whole team. Good game to the opponent. That thing was disgusting. I'm not even... Oh, man. Quagsire in the next game. This is really, really awkward for me here. I'm just going to go straight to Donphan and just see if I can make something happen. Truthfully, I expect to lose this game just because Quagsire is such a nasty core breaker for this team, but the opponent actually throws a move here on alignment, it looks like, and is going to be forced to shield a Trailblaze. So now I'm just be like, all right, well, they're not swapping out. So one of two things is the case here. Either they have something else in the back that is good against Talonflame and they're not switching, or hopefully the case, they're super weak to Gastrodon or Ground or Mud Slap in the back. I'm going to be going for this Body Slam here to try and get to a move before they can. And if they shield this, then Gastrodon comes in and they don't shield it. And they have Drapion in the back. This is really, really good because if the opponent's best response to my Donphan at this point is a Drapion, Gastrodon's about to have a field day and the opponent has more Peko in the back. They did not have an answer for the Mud Slappers and they paid dearly for it. Good game. Talonflame into Malamar in the next game. I like to stay in here and try to throw a move if it doesn't seem like the opponent, like if they throw before I do, I'll typically go for a Brave Bird afterwards. But if they throw before I do, I'll go for dude, it's late. It's like 10:30. All right, bear with me. I'm gonna get there. All right, if they throw on the Malamar, if they throw before I do, then I'm gonna go for the Brave Bird. If they throw after me, I'm just gonna go for the Brave Bird anyway. Anyway, just you could probably figure it out. Apparently my brain has just completely shut down in the middle of the shoutcast, but we're too far in to start over anyway. So Scorching Sands has lived, and we're gonna be able to just absolutely rip through the Diggersby. By the way, while I'm just talking nonsense into your ears. Donphan is just destroying things left and right. Diggersby gone. Doesn't need who Diggersby who. In comes that Malamar to take a Mud Slap and get some energy, but Talonflame can come in at this point, and honestly, I'm fine just letting this go and giving my shield here to Gastrodon, and the reason why is because Malamar typically is going to have a poison type in the back, and the opponent didn't have a poison type in the back when it came to what they came in with, was the Diggersby, so I'm assuming they probably have a poison type in back, so my team read here was successful. They have the Toxapex, and we have one of the hardest answers in the game to Toxapex here in the form of Gastrodon. Now, unfortunately, we're not running Earth Power, but that's okay. We can chip it a little bit down and just get this energy ready for the Malamar, which at this point, we're at a point where we can just simply go for a Water Pulse, and then Talonflame is at a move, I believe, already, so we can simply just get the shield and then do a little bit of a Wombo combo here, as they like to say, to go for the KO. The opponent having thrown energy before, I don't think that they're going to have I don't think that they're gonna have a move ready here, so they're just gonna be able to go for the combo play here and take him out. Good game to the opponent. Brain is shutting down halfway through the video, so yay. Let's see if we can wake up into the next game here. Wigglytuff on the lead. We love to see these on the lead here. Wigglytuff typically has the double ground behind it. This is a Diggersby here, so I can simply just go for the Brave Bird as soon as I get it. The opponent could have gone for a Scorching Sands on the CMP tie there if they'd wanted to, but they decided not to. Since they let that go, I come in with Gastrodon. Gastrodon can eat 2 Scorching Sands and then some, so I should simply be able to farm this down here and maintain positive switch advantage, except the opponent gets the 30% attack drop on the Scorching Sands, which feels super bad. But it's okay, we can still live enough of these, and hopefully we'll be able to get this farm down. I'm thinking about throwing, but I decide not to. I'm just gonna throw a move here into the Wigglytuff, probably just a Water Pulse here, and just let them charm us down here. And Talonflame still gets to maintain its very good matchup here, and we can also go for a Body Slam because we live those. Yes, we do. The opponent got denied a charm because they got the one turn bring in instead of me for once. So opponent's going to be going for these charms. They're not swapping out, which kind of tells me that they may be weak in the back to the Talonflame. So we're going to go for a fly here. They are going to go for what I expect is an Icy Wind. I'm going to shield this anyway. If they're shielding against my Talonflame, then this thing must have some value here. The opponent comes in with their own Gastrodon. And I'm going to go for the Brave Bird here to potentially get the shield off of them. And if they do shield, I can come in with Donphan and go for the Trailblaze. The opponent, however, lets that go, and Donphan gets the Mud Slap down. The opponent immediately concedes, as they should. You silly Wigglytuff player, you stop that. Talonflame into Talonflame. This is a really awkward mirror because you really can't swap out of this because your Mud Slaps do essentially nothing. And the first person to take a fly pretty much loses this. I mean, honestly, it's really difficult because you can't like, they just shield everything here, right? Like, so we're just gonna keep trading blows, and I'm hoping that Gastrodon maybe at some point can do something in this matchup. I will eventually probably pivot out of this matchup, but the opponent decides to pivot first here, and I'm fine with this. Now, Corsola is a strong pick, but I think that in a meta where there's so many people running Drapion and things of the sort, I don't see it as a good safe switch. It should be a lead or a closer, I think, but that's just my opinion. Nightshade also, I didn't shield it from Corsola because I know that Corsola is super bulky and likely isn't going to be doing a whole lot of damage with the Nightshade, so I let that go, just hoping that we live, and we do. Donphan is it's pretty fragile otherwise, but we can still live those anyway. Opponent's going to go for a move here. I kind of have to give up my final shield, although I really don't want to. I decide not to. I'm going to hope that I can trust in Gastrodon to win this game, but the opponent gets to another move. I'm really, really annoyed at the frequency of it getting to flies. I thought it was see, if I had known that wasn't a Brave Bird, which I should have known if I know my counts, because I believe it's, 3 to the move after those first 2 flies, and the opponent calls the Water Pulse, I'm in shambles at this point. Unfortunately, I should have probably shielded the Talonflame, farmed down, and then I would have been able to get to moves against this Diggersby, then maybe Water Pulse afterwards. Would have been in a much better spot had I just shielded the Talonflame and farmed it down. So, unfortunate, but good game to the opponent here. I was hoping they'd have a Toxapex in back. We pick up another 4-1 to get to 24-27. And into the final set we go. I am at this point, I'm just ecstatic that we have 2 4-1s. I don't even know what's going to happen here. Opponent's going to go in with a Dugong. Typically, I throw the Brave Bird here and they shield, so I'm thinking, all right, we'll go ahead and throw the Brave Bird here. Now, I've had one that decided not to shield when I threw the fly, so I was in shambles at that point. The opponent is basically at an Icy Wind, so I'm going to swap out with my defense dropped and go into my Gastrodon. We do win charge attack priority against Dugong, which is really nice. As long as I can try to keep track of their energy. I don't know that I win this going Body Slam, however. I know that we typically want Earth Power in order to knock out the Dugong, so I don't know, we'll see. But if we can get shields down, Donphan is also going to do just fine into the opponent's, I believe they would hit Gastrodon in the lead. God, I already forgot. You see what I'm talking about? Like, my brain just shuts down mid-video. It's crazy. So Body Slam's going to get thrown here, and we're not going to be able to get to another move, unfortunately. But Talonflame can come back in here. It can absorb the Icy Wind pretty nicely here. And then, even though we are going to be debuffed, we'll still do a lot of damage with this. But Donphan's going to come in now, and I was just going to pivot. I did not think they were going to have that, but Gastrodon comes in now. The opponent, instead of throwing energy, just decides to throw in their Gastrodon, but Gastrodon's going to get sacrificed to Arceus himself, and now we're going to have Donphan be going for these boosted body slams, which I think the main mistake that my opponent made here was definitely not staying in, because now they're throwing energy as well. I can simply 2-shield and farm down this bird, and we are going to do fine here. We're going to just go ahead and come in with our Talonflame. We're going to go for the Incinerates needed to farm down, and we're going to take this one to the house. Good game to the opponent. Next game up is against fellow content creator and very elite skilled battler Rise to Occasion. We hard counter him on the lead, but he comes in with the Feraligatr, and it was in this moment that I truly realized how boned I was against Feraligatr. So I let this first move go, and I should have probably come in with the Donphan here, because Donphan actually does more damage with the Mud Slaps, and I think I actually had a chance to 2-shield through this Feraligatr, whereas with the Gastrodon, I'm forced to put both my shields on the table if I want this matchup, and even then, I think he could probably farm me down if he wants to. So, looking to go for the Body Slam here, and hopefully take out this Gator. Now, Gator's going to go down 2 shields here, and we're not going to be able to get this Gator off the board, but what we can do is come in with Talonflame and go for an Incinerate, and hopefully that's going to be enough to knock this thing out. We are going to have to shield here if we want to win this game, because I need to keep this alive for the Alolan Sandslash. He's going to come in with the Sableye, but look to try to catch the move on the Alolan Sandslash, and I'm going to go for 2 Incinerates here, knowing that he had no energy when he swapped out. I can go for the Brave Bird. That's going to do enough to knock out, and then we're going to go into, he's going to go back into the Shadow Sableye here. We're going to go for that Brave Bird. He's going to concede. Good game. Kind of hard countered him, but still well played. The game against Rise is always well played. And we're going to get into the next game here. We have a Talonflame on the lead versus the Drifblim. The Drifblim is a nasty piece of work for this team. They can simply just go for Icy Wind here and make me feel very sad. Their moves are adding up faster than mine are, which is a scary thought. And Icy Wind going to be lowering our damage output. I'm going to go up to 100 energy and throw this Fly. At least what I can do here is I can pressure both shields off the Drifblim and get it low. But the opponent decides to just let it go. And I'm going to go into Donphan here because I don't want to safe switch into my Gastrodon, just because I feel like the Donphan has more flexibility, and that's when I decide I want to test and see how much damage that the Donphan takes from an Aqua Tail. I can't really get rid of my shield here, but opponent gonna have a Cancel Marowak, Shadow Cancel Marowak. I'm very jealous of this thing, by the way. I don't have one, and I wish I did. They're gonna have a move. It's gonna be just a Bone Club, but I kind of have to shield it. But I have 2 Flies, and that's going to allow me to get both the shields off of this Marowak, and we have Gastrodon, which is very bulky here, that we simply just need to get rid of this Marowak. And honestly, we're gonna have to see how we do that. We're gonna come in with the Gastrodon here. We're doing tons of damage with the Mud Slaps. Opponent's gonna go for that Bone Club. My main thing here is if they get to another Bone Club, I am in trouble. So Bone Club gonna connect, and the opponent's gonna come in with the Drapion, but we are gonna be taking a move here, which is now pretty scary because a Crunch comes very close to knocking us out, but they're only able to get to the Aqua Tail, which is massive. Now we're going to be able to fire off a move here, but the opponent concedes before we can do so. Well played to them. I think if they just go for the Crunch, they just win that, I think. But we're going to go into the next game. We're going to go straight into the Shadow Donphan here. Opponent has the Drapion, and they decide to swap into my nemesis, the Drifblim, dude. This thing is painful. But we have Gastrodon. Hopefully, this is the only flyer that they will have. And so now we're just going to try and go for as much damage as we possibly can. Now, opponent doesn't know the counts, Mudslap, Trailblaze, and to be fair, neither do I. So we're going to CMP tie them on this move. They're going to no shield, knowing that they live it. That's fine. But this also puts us in a position where we can farm down with Talonflame. And Talonflame energy is always useful against almost any team here. Opponent will get a very nice undercharge on that Icy Wind to be able to get one more Astonish that they need to get to the Shadow Ball to do a ton of damage. But now they're going to have a Gastrodon, or my Gastrodon, against their Azumarill. This is looking pretty bad, especially without Earth Power. I am in a very bad position here. I'm hopeful that the energy that I have in my Talonflame, I can use it somewhere. Maybe eventually they'll try to swap into the Drapion to catch a move. We'll see. But I'm always going to threaten like I have Earth Power here. And I'm going to go for a bait, obviously, because I'm not going to throw Water Pulse at this thing. And we're just going to continue to throw Body Slams after building up to Earth Power and try and see if we can't get the shields off of this Azumarill. So I need to keep Gastrodon alive, however, because I need to be able to deal with the Drapion in the back that has energy, which is a problem. So we are going to see them go for the Aqua Tail. They basically just had gotten to the Aqua Tail with that Poison Sting, as they had thrown 3, I believe, and swapped against the Donphan. So we're going to be able to get to another Body Slam here. Hopefully this is enough, and if it is, we should be able to come in with our Talonflame and get to a move against the Azumarill here before it can get to a move, as they had basically just thrown, going for this Brave Bird here. The opponent knows they're going to lose, and they concede. Good game, well played. Rolling into the next game, like Donphan loves to do, we get another nice Wigglytuff on the lead. The opponent is staying in here, and they are core broken by the bird. We're going to be going for the fly here before they can get to a charge move, and they're more likely going to shield this, and if they don't, then that's fine, because I hate Wigglytuff, and I'd love to see it get off my screen. Get out of here, you stupid pink puff. Opponent's going to go, excuse me, for a move. I'm going to let this go at this point. I'm hoping that maybe we can just make some magic happen and not have to worry about Talonflames or anything in the back. The opponent does have a Gastrodon on it. They typically have the double Mud Slappers in the back. They're going to go immediately for a Body Slam. I'm going to shield this up because Donphan with shields and Trailblaze is nasty, and I don't expect them to have anything in the back that's going to be particularly useful into this Gastrodon of mine. So I'm going to go for the Trailblaze, and they let it go. That's huge. But they do have the Talonflame in the back, which is going to be really, really awkward here. I'm going to try and go for these Body Slams. We have energy on Talonflame. And we also have Gastrodon with Water Pulse. So as long as I can get some shields off of this Talonflame, we're in a really good spot here. I'm going to come in with Gastrodon to absorb the energy first, and then we're going to let this move go. If they throw Brave Bird, then they just lose. So they're going to throw a Fly. It's a pretty safe no shield for me, because they don't have anything that they can just simply go into. They don't have anything that they can swap into to declare a debuff. So I'm going to shield the next move, and I overfarm by too much here, forgetting once again what the fly counts are. So they basically use up all their energy here, and I'm unable to get to my move because I'm a fool. But I was only 2 away, or I was only 1 Incinerate away from the back-to-back flies, and we do live 2 Incinerates. The opponent not going to get to the move here. We're going to go for the second fly and be able to clinch the game. Talonflame forgiving me for my mistakes and my misdeeds here, breaking in another win. This team is incredible. Obviously, there are some holes to it. Azumarill lead, kind of uncomfortable. Okay, I get, yes, it is. But for alligators, Drifblims are probably the worst things that I've seen. And honestly, we were able to overcome quite a few of those in this with this team. So it's a really strong team. Really recommend you give it a try. This team got me just straight from 2350 to 2500 in 3 sets. It's really, really strong right now. So if you haven't given it a try, please consider it, especially if you have a Shadow Donphan lying around. The thing is so much fun to play. But anyway, that's going to do it for me for today's video, guys. Thank you so very much for watching the video. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.